It says here we should work in teams. Who wants to be my spotter?
I don't think you should be doing too much gambling tonight, Alan.
Gambling? Who said anything about gambling? It's not gambling when you know you're going to win.
I have no idea what just happened. None of that went the way it was supposed to. Wow. Okay. Well, hopefully all that sounded great for everyone else. I'm your host with the most Thomas Hands, Thomas Simple FF. I'm sorry if that kicked off a little weird. I had double action going in my headset just now. I have never had that happen. Look, that's not the strangest thing that's happened today from Movavi telling me I no longer have a subscription. So that was a lot of fun to scramble right before we got on here. My car started making weird noises. Lamar Jackson almost gave me a fucking aneurysm yesterday. And I traded Kadarius Toney for a first round and a second round pick. So today has been a weird day. This is a weird start. But again, I am your host with the most time on his hands, Tom Stipple FF. This is my mate to the other side. This is Tom_Lee92, all the way over there in Aussie land. Boy, that threw me like I am way off right now. Oh my God.
Welcome in.
Oh, geez. Like, you know, echoing, right? This is echoing to the extreme. Like I had legitimately no idea what was happening. Again, super sorry for that. Today, look, this is the Full Tilt Dynasty podcast presents the Fantasy Walkabout. As we move past that, and the name of the episode today is exactly how we feel. Okay, this is the second time we've come on this show after a Monday night meltdown by me. Last night, look, I got to tell you, it's not often I go off like that when watching a football game. Most people who know me as like the cool, calm, collected guy, right? Not me last night. Oh my God. My Twitter was on fire the whole night. Look, we're going to talk about that game, but there's a bunch of other stuff that happened as usual. Lots of injuries. Oh my God. It's just never ending at this point. I think, Tom Lee, I think that, like, I don't know if some fields are just the worst or there are some medical staffs who are the worst, but detecting some patterns here.
Do you reckon that happens every year and we just forget about it by this point? Because it just seems to hit harder and harder every single year we do this caper.
No. It's usually just like two teams. It's like Chargers, 49ers, they're all dead.
Defense or offense.
Everyone else is
out.
like, and mostly everyone else is fine. But this year it's like, hey, you got a starter? Not anymore.
Good one.
I think 2 or 3 more went down for the Ravens. There are 16 players on IR right now. It's just, I give up. Look, we talk about true value on this show. We don't really talk about draft value or flip-flopping dynasty rankings or that. We just more break down how our off-season process applies to current day football because we don't want to be the guys swapping out a new wide receiver and running back one every week. For reasons, again, like we saw last night with Jonathan Taylor. Oh, my God. All right. So let's get into it here. do we care? I want to start with do we care today. Okay.
Let's do it.
So what do we care is you've already seen the hot button topics. And I was going to say, we're not going to fucking talk about John Gruden. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, bad human.
Yep.
That's it. We're not going to get into a breakdown. There's enough of that. If you're out there and you're putting your voice out, I'm happy for you. I've said what I needed to say about it. We're not going to drag it out. Last night during the game, it got fucking wild.
It did.
It went into the third quarter. It was crazy. But this segment here is just a brief rundown of news, notes, injuries, who's totally dead and who's not. We're going to get into that. So we're going to kick it off with injuries. Tom Lee, Clyde, huge. That injury looked disgusting.
Yeah, man, I'm glad it's just an MCL because that could have been
unbelievable.
It was all the CLs, it was the back, it was
So I got hit like that when I was a kid running the ball, and my leg it's no more. One leg, it barely works these days, so it was rough. So obviously that's big. Apparently they're in conversations or looking at Marlon Mack, which would be insane. Everyone would be happy. He gets out of Indianapolis, making
the ultimate solution.
Making Jonathan Taylor managers happy, and then making the Kansas City Chiefs happy, while Clyde Edwards-Helaire fans, want to die on the inside more than they already do. Look, he actually was starting to look really good, so this really sucks. Juju season done. It looks like shoulder injury. I'm not a Juju guy. There are some people who still believe in his first 2-3 year production. I think
what is a Juju guy?
Guys that still think when he goes to another team, and I get we actually had this conversation in the Slack channel that when a superstar, high profile receiver go to another place, they're automatically copy and pasted that production. That rarely happens. If I get it, DeAndre Hopkins was great, Stefan Diggs improved. These are stories of perfect case scenarios, right? Amari Cooper left. He hasn't exactly set the world on fire. You know what I mean? It's been more of the same. I don't think Juju going anywhere is going to up his stocks. No. Unless it's somewhere completely, devoid of wide receiver talent and they don't want to draft one. Right? Exactly. That's about his spot. So this sucks, but also big up to Claypool rest of the season.
It's huge to the rest of the Steelers offense. If they're going to keep persisting with whatever the hell they're trying, it's big ups. Like you said, Claypool, Deontay, and Najee, big ups for them. Even Patty F might get involved a little bit. So, bad for Juju, but great for the rest of us who don't have him and have shares of other players.
I find it interesting that you mentioned Deontay because he had 2 targets.
Yeah.
In a close game. It was neutral game script. He had 2 targets. Granted, one of them was like a bomb, but even still, okay, that was one of the, that first drive. And he still had 2 targets after Juju went down. Now, granted, they ran the ball better.
They did, yeah.
But, the 18, 15 targets that Deontay Johnson fans have been used to, not so much.
Yeah.
Kenny Golladay didn't.
Fun to watch. Yeah.
Yep. Kenny Golladay didn't suit up. I missed this in my home league, and I thought it was going to cost me. But Lamar Jackson did Lamar Jackson things, so I didn't have to worry about it. Saquon, get that. So you studied.
What's he meant to do? This is.
I have no idea, but you studied medicine, I guess, in a way, injuries, things like that.
Exercise, sports science, yes.
Right. So that's technically, it's there.
Yeah.
Look, you got to pump yourself up a bit. You got to lie, right? You got to fake it till you make it, Tom Lee. I gave you a chance, and you just politely brushed it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are a neurosurgeon.
Damn right.
90% of other Twitter doctors are kind of like that too. There's a few that I love out there, but come on. Looking at Saquon's ankle, I don't know if swelling is supposed to look like that specifically in one spot. I don't know. I'm no doc, but I know that I have fucking broken my ankle.
Yeah.
So
it actually is. So in this situation, what will normally happen is when you roll your ankle, you do one of the lateral ligaments. The most common one is the ATFL, so the anterior talar fibular ligament. right? And that essentially just helps hold the front of your foot together. It's the one that we all roll. We all step off the sidewalk, flick our foot over, going, fuck, we've rolled that, right? What normally happens is you in football context, you keep the shoe and sock on so that swelling doesn't happen. What the issue with Saquon is because it hurt so much, they were fearful of the break, took the shoe off, it blew up like an egg in the specific site of where the ATFL attaches, so it should look like that. But the problem is, once it swells up, you can't get rid of the swelling. You can't just cut it open and get rid of the fluid, and you can't put the boot back on because it hurts like hell. So as soon as they took it off to scan it, he was pretty much done. As soon as it blew up like that, there's no real way to fix it in the moment. But it's good news for us because we know what the injury is and we know how to project the recovery from it. So,
do we? Because we see injuries like this and they linger. Ankles are brutal.
This type of ankle is a good type of ankle because they can jab it. And he has 3 other muscles that help stabilize the outside of the ankle. It's all down to what the grade of the tear is. Is there pain? Is his foot stable? If it's not stable and he can't plant on it, then he's going to be longer out. So the 2 to 4 suggests that it's a pretty decent tear of that ligament. And the muscles on the outside will need to get rid of the swelling, restabilize and strengthen, and then go back to performance. So sort of 3 weeks would be around about the mark.
Okay, well, hey, 3 weeks. I mean, CMC and Saquon down once again. It's crazy.
Well, that's the annoying bit, Poor fella just comes back, and all of a sudden it's, some freak accident like that, and we lose him again. So,
did you see the conspiracy theory that the Dallas player did it on purpose because he's looking down?
It just put his leg over there and it's like, got him.
100%. I was like, all right, we've reached that spot. Unbelievable. Look, Pitts and Tony broke out. Obviously, we expected the Pitts one to come.
Well, there was no one else on the team.
100%. And, good matchup for him. And then Tony broke out. Didn't see that coming. The signs were there. Look, every single player was
every
injured.
Single one. Yeah.
And I know
except
that
for Ingram.
Before, even like Barkley was gone, right? So
Oh,
and he got himself ejected. That's a great move. That's a great way to just
throwing punches
at
a
guy like Judge. You're really going to impress him with he premeditated that punch and whiffed on a standing opponent. Sir, stick to football. Boxing's not your calling.
Also, he's now injured. They're not.
Is he?
They're not sure whether he's going to play this. Yeah. So, my God, that's a fun one. It was a great game to watch. Then he got ejected. Now he's possibly injured.
2 weeks, like the last 2 weeks, he's been very good. But now, it's like, what happens when Shepard comes back? What happens when Galladay's in there for one game every 4 weeks, right? Like, and Slayton went. Well, I think he'll play over Slayton at this point, but it's interesting, something to keep an eye on. I traded him, so trade him if you got him. He's kind of trade him if you got him for sure. Gino looked like he's gonna start. There are rumblings about Cam. They shut it down. Gino to start. I don't know. Don't bench Metcalf. Don't bench. Bench. Oh my God. Bench. Lockett. Just lower expectations a bit.
Yeah.
Right. This one's a favorite of mine. Trey Sermon. Sayonara. Get yeeted. Big yeet. Bringing the yeet back on this show. Oh, man. 1 carry, 2 snaps. He was healthy. Yeah. So was Mitchell. I think we kind of know what they're doing. Is. Yeah. They like Mitchell. Mitchell's the guy. Hopefully you picked him up. And other than that, I mean, there's tons of news out there. There's tons of outlets. I'm sure you're getting caught up as fast as you can. Also, go Sutton. Yeah, fuck yeah. So look, when we come back, we're going to do Shits Me to Tears, and then we are also going to talk about the Monday night game. So sit tight. All right. So this is what I look like watching the Monday Night Football game. I had my armor on. Helmet came with me and went to war with my own mental health. That game was hard to watch. It was hard to watch. Ravens got the Colts 3rd and 15. 74-yard touchdown pass for Jonathan Taylor. Unbelievable. And from there, it was just shit show. They couldn't stop the run. Jonathan Taylor put up a huge game receiving. I think it was 136 yards. Could have been more.
Yep.
Hines was nowhere to be found.
Not even a thing. Returned a few punts. Looked good.
Yeah, it was the Taylor and Mac show. Super odd. I think they're definitely showcasing Mac, like we said. But look, to get through that game, I needed a suit of armor because I went through every emotion. Anger, depression, anxiety, doubt, everything. And then it shot back up, and then there was hope, and then there went no to my hope. And then it was excitement, and I even looked at Erin, who has now stopped reading her book and is now watching me be a lunatic. That was more exciting to her. I looked at her, I said, they're going to get just close enough to break my heart again. I could feel it. The touchdown, I was like, there's no way they get this too. Like, there's no way. Then the kick and then the overtime. Exciting game. What it means for fantasy is this, for me. The talk about Lamar Jackson being unable to sustain a wide receiver 1 or high-end wide receiver 2 is out the window. I don't care when Bateman's back. Like, I love Bateman, but he's coming into week 6, it looks like, into an established offense. I think he eats into Sammy Watkins' production and could see a 500 to 600 yard season. Could be more, right? If their defense stays this bad. Oh my God.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah. If their defense stays this bad, he could end up walking into, like, Sammy Watkins' role, etc. And then Watkins would really just become the 3. I don't think Harbaugh does that. So temper your expectations for Bateman coming in. This is different that if he went through the whole preseason and week 1, he could show his talents, etc., etc., etc. That's not that. They're an established offense. They're a top offense. So yeah, temper your expectations. Andrews, oh my God, big game. Big movers, or was this game just affirmation for you?
It was good to see. So, I mean, we haven't really seen a Ravens game script where they get down by that. Well, it wasn't even that much. It just looked bad, right? It looked like everything was going wrong. It looked like
more than it was. Like, there was a time, because the Colts drove a couple of times.
Yeah, and then there was the turnover in the red zone early on where they scored nothing, came out with no points. And then the Colts also gave up another possession off the back of that turnover from the Ravens. So, like, it could have been more. And I think a better team almost puts them away and ruins your night. But what it did was set up the perfect game script for the perfect script, I guess, for Lamar to show how accurate he can be, how consistent he can be.
Right.
How they can play this offense if it doesn't go to plan. And that was one thing. It always used to be establish the run, play action off the back of it, low passing volume. Now with these scripts, they got blown out. You look at that playoff game they lost where they couldn't put points up. The plan didn't work. So they need the second gear, and it's good to see they have it, whether or not it's the weapons or whether or not it's just the mind shift of,
Here's why I think Bateman is going to help the team, because I don't know why the Colts just decided to play soft cover 3.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea, but they stayed in that coverage the entire
whole night
game.
Yeah.
Even when they drove 3-4 times in a row.
Yeah.
They stayed in that. I don't suspect Lamar Jackson's going to be as good against man coverage or even a competitive zone. So that's something to watch for as well. But the LA Chargers are going to put up 55 points in the first half against Baltimore because their defense is so bad. And there's no help coming. Like, none. Patrick Queen has been awful. They need LJ Fort, and that says something about Patrick Queen's development. So we always talk about defensive variance, right? People were, they're going to keep running the ball because their defense is not good. Losing Peters hurt them more than I think they were ready for, and their pass rush, aside from OA, has been non-existent.
Yeah.
Much like the last couple of years. So, oh God, play all your Chargers, play Guyton, play them all. Oh God.
Haram, play
everyone, right? So yeah, and then obviously you're playing your Ravens because what we just saw. So It's the game, to sum it up for how I would apply last night to fantasy right now, is just don't overreact to anything. Chances are, if you had these guys, you were like happy with it. And then chances are, if you didn't, now you're not going to go and trade for these guys. So
correct.
don't overreact to anything. Just take it in. Obviously, you're super happy with Taylor's workload. Don't overreact. Just move on. Okay, we're going to do shits me to tears like we always do. Tom, you got something good for us today, and then after that, we're going to get into the rest of the bit here.
Well, that's it, right? So, I mean, it sort of leads off the back of that Monday night game, and it didn't have to be just a Ravens game, but it's the Monday night commentary team coming off the back of what we had 3 or 4 weeks of Peyton and Eli. It's this awkward home sort of style show that was just brilliant because it only talked about the football, and that's really what you're interested in. The last game of the round, you know, we've got all these stellar matchups going head-to-head, and you're getting to get an insight into what it's like to be the quarterback, what they're seeing, what they're trying to do, what the other defense is trying to do. And then we switch back to whatever the hell we're getting for the last 2 weeks, and it's just boring, and it's Lamar turns the ball over, therefore he's, you know, not a good player. And then the second half, he starts coming back, and all of a sudden he's the MVP. Like, we know what we're going to hear. It's uninsightful. It's uninteresting. It shits me to tears. It just is a disappointment to see fun, interesting, goofy commentary, which is what we all have conversations about, but from 2 of the star quarterbacks in the last decade. Yes, I know I'm pumping Eli up a little bit, but he won the 2 Super Bowls, so whatever.
You can count him as a superstar for sure.
Sure, yeah. But, you know, like, it's just fun to hear these guys banter back and forth and actually give you information that can help us in fantasy going, what are they trying to do? Who are they trying to feature? Why is this happening? You know, it qualifies and gives us information about what the targets are going on, whether it was a game scripted based change. It just gives us better information. So I think it's back for maybe week 7 when the Chargers play on Monday Night Football. So I'm waiting for that and excited by that. But in the meantime, we're stuck with whatever the hell we're getting week in, week out from everyone else.
The commentary was so bad last night. And you're right. It does shit me to tears. The commentary was so bad that there was a good, I don't know, halfway through the third quarter, it took them to really start calling football again.
Yeah.
So, and then it just became, it wasn't a Colts versus Ravens game. It was just a Ravens game. Like, they did not care about the Colts after that at all, except for just completely tearing apart the Colts defensive coordinator. I found like through that site, like that was ruthless. Yeah, I agree with all that. That does shit me to tears, right? Like, I agree with all of that. Yeah, we need better commentary. It's out there. Go pay the money. And I'm happy that actually Peyton turned down that initial contract.
Absolutely.
So he could come in and do this. Because I don't think he wanted to be that stuffy guy in the booth, and they weren't going to give him like
the Drew Brees at halftime. He hates it.
Exactly.
He looks so awkward.
Yeah, he's getting used to it. Hang in there, Drew.
You'll get it, Drew.
Yeah, you'll hang. You just you know, hang in. Look, when we come back in just a minute, we were going to talk about the Thursday game, but I think I'm going to scrap that right now.
Yeah.
Player people, play Goddard, Fournette. I mean Sanders if you're desperate, and just play everyone else, right? AB, Godwin, Evans, etc. Okay, when we come back, we're going to do Hard Yak. We're going to do some trade gimmicks, and then we're going to get on out of here and announce a little something for Friday's action. So, yeah, sit tight. We'll come back. I cannot believe how messed up that introduction was in my headset. Like, every time one of these plays now, I'm mortified.
Yeah, like what will happen?
Yeah, like I am concerned. But look, the Hard Yakker today is going to be the trade gimmick. We're going to run down 5 or 6 players, right? And we're going to talk about what kind of deals we're getting them done. Because look, having a true process is great, but it's not. It's only theory if it's not actionable. So let's try to put some of these to the test.
Yeah.
Right now, kick us off, Tom Lee.
So the reason we do this, and the reason that this whole show is called Full Tilt, is it's what everyone's thinking at every point in time. When it comes to the fantasy season, we're seeing rises, fallers. Where are we at on this guy? What do we do? And a lot of the time, it's just talking about what could happen, what will happen, we're looking for more functional advice, right? We're looking for more direct ways to apply. Okay, what if we are going to say that this guy's on the rise? What's actually going to cost to go out and get them? If we're off someone, are we selling them? Are we not? Well, what does it actually look like? So we're going to start with a few hot button topic names. Jamar Chase is the first one, right?
Oh, impossible to trade for.
Spicy. Well, this is it, right? That's a classic sentence. Guy on the rise. We saw it with Jefferson last year, CeeDee Lamb to an extent as well. These guys are unachievable to get. We'll get someone, we'll still go out and get them. So what are we doing with them? We'll have a look at some of the stats behind it. It doesn't really matter where Jamar's been lining up. He's getting targets. He's catching his targets, not like the preseason. He's scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, people really regret that one now.
Yeah, 136 yards after the catch, 17.8 ADOT. Like, it's just insane statistically. So he was, as of June, the wide receiver 10 off the board, which was already pretty high. We're projecting, that this guy was going to do it.
You're happy.
Even as late as July, he's moved up to wide receiver 6 on DLF's ADP. We don't have August yet. It's going to be higher again, right? So let's just say we're talking about a top 5 wide receiver. He's young. He's a stud. That offense looks great.
Okay.
What are we doing? We know he's good. We know there's a lot of teams out there who want a player like this on their roster. What are we giving up? All right. So let's just say you own Jamar Chase.
Mm-hmm.
1, is there something you would sell him for? 2, how would you go about doing it?
So when you roster a player like this, right? Currently the wide receiver PPR 8, if you're, in regular standard kind of scoring PPR leagues, he's 21, like you said, locked into a great offense, healthy primary target. Don't know what he's going to do with T. Higgins, but same thing. Players coming back into an established rotation. We don't know what it's going to do. His touchdowns are unsustainable. They're not sticky, but he is good.
He is good.
The defense also looks good. So that'll kind of add some variance. I'm not moving him, right? Because if I drafted him that high, 10, 8, right, in that top region, there were some cases he was the 3rd, 4th receiver off the board. There's really nothing short of like Jonathan Taylor that I would really trade Jamar Chase for.
Yeah, so you need a positional stud for stud, straight up trade that suits your needs right now to move him. Cool.
I wouldn't trade down from Jamar Chase because I'm just super happy to have him.
Yeah, so this is where the question lies. So we look at
if someone would give me, if somebody would give me like AJ Brown and I don't know something, because AJ Brown is down, then I would do that because I don't think AJ Brown stays down. So Jamar Chase, I would do like AJ Brown, and right now it could end up being a 1st round pick. It could end up being some people just want to jump ship. So that's kind of what it would take for me.
So these are the key questions, because you look at established leagues from last year, people were able to move Lamb and Jefferson in the offseason because of the idea of, will these guys ever be rated higher than they are currently? And we know that wide receiver, the top of the tree generally doesn't. Once it's an established situation, they're on their second contract, they've got the quarterback there for a long period of time. Those guys don't really move out of that tier, right? They stay there or thereabouts. Having said that, if Jamar Chase is perceived as having a wide receiver 3 overall in dynasty value, like you said, could you cash into someone whose perceptive value has fallen and add pieces to it? That suits our strategy. That's where it gets tough for me, because if you were going to get a stud and a 1st, in theory, you should do that. But I couldn't begrudge you for holding on to Chase, because perceivably, why would you give up what you've got? Unless you know you.
And he fell in drafts to 105 to 107 in rookie drafts. Like, you're everywhere you got Chase. I don't think you really reached on him if you really thought he was that guy.
Correct. Yeah, the top 5 to 6 picks this year were pretty set as far as value went.
Yeah, and as for receivers, I would trade to get him. Like, if I were the one doing deals, like, I probably wouldn't pay the price, right? Like, I wouldn't trade Tyreek Hill for him.
No,
I wouldn't trade Stefan Diggs for him. Right.
I guess the last question
I would
of this
team
is
dependent, right? These are all team dependent, situation dependent, and blah 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 blah. But right now, I would have drafted Stefan Diggs over Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Hill right? I think Adams is kind of where my line is. So,
Yep.
like DJ Moore and Jamar Chase, like you're getting into spicy territory because I love me
Yeah.
some DJ.
Well,
right?
that's it. So,
that's
it's
where you're
DJ
getting.
Moore plus another wide receiver. Let's say it's DJ Moore and Jerry Jeudy, or DJ Moore and Chase Claypool, right? With stuff like this, these are functional moves that
Now that would pique my interest for sure.
So
would I do it? So probably not. But it's you're right.
So that's the key. This is where we normally end up, right? If I see DJ Moore and Chase Claypool, I'm smashing that. Not because I don't believe in Chase. I want to diversify the assets, bring in more team value, and I think I can put more production on my field because of that. Because Chase is so young, we have no idea whether or not he's going to have weak breaking ability like a Tyreek Hill or a Devontae Adams. But I could also see you keeping that. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with either side. And that's our two approaches put together. But this is why we go through the thinking process, because you've got to think, well, yes, it's great to have Chase in my team, but is there something that can help me win championships over and over and over again that I could do with him? And if so, what will it look like if it came my way? You've got to be thinking through this stuff, because right now you've got an asset that is flying up and rising. There has to be a point at which it stops. There is a peak value and a true value to him. Can you capitalize that on selling? You're not looking to sell him, but you need to have that awareness of what would it take if asked the question, because I think there is an opportunity here to capture something special and something really, really valuable for your team.
100%. But again, it's all team dependent too. So, okay, Tom Lee, next one up. Let's go. Let's keep it moving.
So that's our first. We're going to fly through them. So, Stefan Diggs, like you said before, we're starting to get a few of these guys who have perceived values that are starting to drop, right? They starred last year. They dominated last year. They haven't really fallen away massively, but at the same time, it's enough to make you question, because there's other guys doing a better job, right? And you can blame the Cooper Kupps of this world for outperforming their ADP, but it puts pressure on guys like Stefan Diggs, who are starting to fall to the end of the wide receiver one range from performance. ADOT, all the stats look fine. Yards after the carry, all sorts of stuff look really, really good. Even though between June and September, his ADP slid out. It's going to slide out again. He's going to slide out to wide receiver 9 or 10, which for me is outstanding value, right?
Absolutely, because we know he's a good player, but now he kind of looks more like he's looking a little bit like the Minnesota Vikings product right now.
Yeah.
So, on an offense that is exploding.
Exactly. It's a huge, huge offense producing points. So what are we doing with him? So are we going out and trying to buy Stefan Diggs for some perceived discount?
I would actively be trying to go and get Stefan Diggs.
I'm with you here.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. If there is even a hint of slight change in perception of value, if you can get him for a lower price wide receiver that is performing well,
right.
I think even we talked about it with the Cooper Kupp incident. This is one of the ones you could go the other way on. If you can get him for Cooper Kupp plus a very small piece, is that something you would do? You know what I mean? Like these are the moves that you can be doing with players that are outperforming ADP to secure the asset who is perceived as being lower.
Although I just for fun.
Yep.
Because we like to have fun. For fun. Let's talk about Cooper Kupp versus Stefan Diggs right now. Okay. They're both 27.
Yep.
Okay. Both under contract.
Correct.
Both have great quarterbacks.
They do.
Both have fantastic systems.
They do.
One's quarterback only targets him. I know the Woods thing, but I mean, come on.
Yep.
Is the primary red zone threat.
Correct.
The other one now has Dawson Knox and some other people cutting into his workload. And I'm serious with the Dawson Knox thing. I made fun of him.
It's absolutely true. Yeah.
But where this is a weird question, but are you more comfortable having Kupp on your roster right now than Stefan Diggs?
For me, no. I'm still very much confident Diggs will turn this around and become that red zone threat again. The interesting thing is
it's not even that I don't think he can turn it around. It's not a matter of turning it around.
You just know
what you have in Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
So I just thought that'd be a more interesting question.
It's a really good one. It's a good one to ask yourself if you're an owner of either of these players. It's a great little one to run through in your head, going, what would I do with them? Because again, wide receiver production, we can get it from anywhere. But security and knowledge and knowing what you're going to get week in, week out to put in those proper wide receiver 1 and 2 spots on your roster. It's a really interesting one right now for Stefan. Especially if it's on a team if it's a team that's losing and they're starting to look at a rebuild, This is where you get your buying opportunities.
For
Go.
fun. Rest of season.
Mm.
Who do you think outscores who? Cooper Kupp or Stefan Diggs? Rest of season.
PPR points.
Obviously, always. If you don't play PPR, you're kind of like you scare me as a human because you don't like
PPR
fun.
changes it for me because Kupp is going to get.
But this is what's
so
interesting.
Yeah.
Stefan Diggs led the league, if I'm not mistaken, in receptions by a lot. So it's funny that you mentioned the PPR points being something that's
actually a factor this year. Yeah.
Come on, Tom Lee.
I think it's Kupp.
You think it's Cooper Kupp?
Yeah.
Rest of season, you're taking Cooper Kupp fantasy points.
Yeah. Am I trading for him? I don't know.
It feels gross.
It's not what I want to bet on.
I'm gonna say Cooper Kupp, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, go.
I think he scores more touchdowns.
Okay, yeah.
Stefan Diggs' career high is 9. He's hit 8 twice.
Yeah.
This year he has 1. I do think that it will come to the other side.
Yeah.
But rest of season, Cooper Kupp's pathway to putting up more points is there. Red zone target. He's going to score at least 10, right? He could score 12.
Yeah.
I think it's Diggs. I think it's Diggs.
Race.
Or for Kupp points rest of season.
Yeah.
Dynasty, I still want Stefan Diggs, I think.
Yeah.
But right now, Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. Go by.
I don't care that Woods went off. It was a Thursday game, short week, different game plan.
Yeah.
Through something different. We'll wait. We'll see. We'll wait.
Yeah. Non-squeaky wheel.
Exactly. Okay, what's the next one?
The next one's massive. So this is DeAndre Hopkins. All right.
Yeah.
I'm getting fed up with D-Hop. Right. This is a man who had a perceived wide receiver value of top 5 and isn't hitting that mark. Right. He had a perceived dynasty value for us of around about that 9 to 10 mark. Right. Mm-hmm. He's not really hitting that either. Right. And he's getting older. He's got an offense that should be featuring him that's now not.
There's more.
But his name looks really good, and he's going to have those boom games still. Right. This week he was having a really, really down, boring game and saved himself with a great touchdown. Right. Got up to 23 PPR points or whatever off the back of a great catch and a great throw. Not even a great throw, just a great catch. Scoring 12 or something points on that touchdown. What do you do with him? You can't sell him for 2 firsts because no one's buying. No. He hasn't had the production that Kupp's had where you could get that sort of value. He's getting older and he's getting towards that apex that we know, the end of the apex for the wide receiver. He's still got the good quarterback who's young on a contract. He's on a contract. He's still in a good offense. What are we doing?
I want to get out of it.
I
will be completely transparent. I traded away DeAndre Hopkins so much all offseason. Whatever shares I had, I tried to offload him. I avoided him all offseason. I sent out one trade for DeAndre Hopkins this season, and it was to try to trade George Kittle straight up.
Yeah.
Because I won out of that one too. Not that I think George Kittle is bad. It just I don't think he'll ever have that same perfect scenario again.
Yeah.
So, DeAndre Hopkins, what are we doing? I'm trying to get out. If someone will give me a first-round pick and a player, I will take it. Depending,
what is that player? Yeah.
What player, Tom? I know when people say that, I'm picking a player, but I just automatically assume someone's not going to take like a first and Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to give me a first and Elijah Moore. You're going to have to give me a first and Elijah Mitchell. It's going to have to be a player who's young with value that you can kind of put into your lineup if you believe in them. So you want that kind of second round-ish type player depending on how the person feels.
Because your ideal offseason trade was Cortland Sutton and a first for D-Hop. That was your sort of...
Mine, which I got 4 times, was J.K. fucking Dobbins, R.I.P., and a second. And I was happy with it.
Yeah, and so would you still take that now?
Sorry,
knowing that Dobbins is going to come back next year off the ACL recovery, he's still young.
I wouldn't take a second, right? But you give me a first in J.K. Dobbins if you think he's done, and
Yeah, if you're looking to build young and go long.
But I wouldn't take Dobbins, an injured running back, in a second.
Okay, yeah.
It's like an Akers Dobbins. It's like a Cam Akers and Ron.
Because I think that's where we're at. Because it was easy to say, and I
want out.
We're both trying to push off these D-Hop shares, but we're going to need something to try and increase that value. Because if you think about it right now, replace production, add value. You want to look at something like Robert Woods in the first, right? Similar age, similar chance.
Give me Michael Thomas and a pick.
Well, this is it. So he is essentially the uninjured Michael Thomas right now, or should be.
Yeah.
That was where we sort of had them perceived.
Yeah.
For me, it's going to be hard to get a player that is equaling production. I'm looking for the 1-for-1 young to old switch if I can.
Okay,
I'm trying to get someone who's looking to compete
too.
now. Yeah.
Okay, so
I think that's the. It may not be the more achievable goal, but I just think if it's a first and a player, the player I'm getting isn't necessarily going to replace the production.
So 1-for-1.
Sutton,
D-Hop.
D-Hop. Just.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Bateman or DeAndre Hopkins?
Hopkins, because I've seen it.
Scared money don't make money. Okay. Marquise Brown, DeAndre Hopkins.
Nah, still D-Hop. So I would, and it's whether or not you can do it or not, I'd still be aiming for sort of that wide receiver 15 down. So if I can switch him
I don't think you're getting that right now.
That's the issue. So that's what I'd be hoping for. And then I'd be going your way with, well, what am I actually happy to sell for? So I'd be looking for T. Higgins, Claypool, and starting there, and then working my way backwards.
Okay, okay. That's more reasonable.
If I get T. Higgins, I'm taking
15. I was like,
yeah.
I don't think you're gonna get.
Yeah. So if I can straight swap him for T. Higgins today, and if I have a D-Hop share anywhere in my leagues and you have T. Higgins, switch me today, I'll take it.
So DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, that's a good line. That's a good line because Cooper's been kind of disappointing since week 1. So
which is really tough. And like honestly, like again, I probably wouldn't do that every single time, but I'm with you. I want to get younger so I probably then would look to move to Cooper as well. But I want to get younger and try to get away from having to keep him for another year. Yeah, that's the biggest issue right now. Is time. It's not necessarily production. I think you'll get that from him. It's now getting towards that Julio Jones drop off. You know it's going to happen eventually.
Oh, don't. Julio's going to come back and be fire, yo. I'm not giving up.
Which D-Hop could be for a year or two. But that resale value is gone after this year for me. So that's the biggest. You can keep him and let him die on your roster. But if you want to move him, you need to figure out how to do it and soon.
That Julio Jones one hurt. Okay, next one up. Let's go. Hit me with it and
so
play a trade game here with me.
People that are falling away even more. Allen Robinson. This one makes me sad. Yeah. We said it last week. One of the biggest busts.
Yes.
Is it going to get better? Fields is now the
not this year
prospect. His dude seems to be Mooney. What are we hoping for? What's the reasonable long-term outlook for Allen Robinson?
Trade deadline trade to anywhere else.
Right. But
Kansas City better call. Oh yeah. He goes
another NFL team is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I thought
look, I'd love to see him in Kansas City. They throw to other receivers enough to make him a focal point. Who obviously you want to see him go to Kansas City. I get it. New Orleans would love it. Absolutely love it. Detroit, please. Jared Goff would be Allen Robinson's best friend, in my opinion. Right. I want to see him go to one of those places. Then I think he can recoup that wide receiver 1. I don't think he has a chance to be a wide receiver 1 until next year if he signs somewhere that gives him a 25% target share.
So that brings us to the trade part.
Because he wants to win and he wants to get paid. So where is going to give him that? New England, I would die if he went to New England. He goes. So right now to get into this is I'm buying Allen Robinson. Yeah.
So that's where we're at because the perceived value's dropped right down, right? He's currently ADP, well, he was as of 2 weeks ago, 17. So it's already a long drop from where he was and what we're expecting. He's also not hitting that mark with production. So his perceived value is even lower. So how are we going about buying him and why and what can we expect? What are we doing? What sort of situations are we looking to add into the team? Because we can't put him in straight away.
Yeah. I'm looking to trade Ayuk for him.
Yep. Okay.
I'm looking to trade Ayuk for him. 2 seconds. Right? I'm willing to do that. He's one of those few people that broke the stigma of receivers can't go other places. I think he's system proof. I just think he needs to not have a like 1B
He needs a system.
run. He just needs to not have a 1B, right? He needs to have a B.
Yeah.
Right. He can't have a 1 and a 1B. He's got to be the guy. It's obvious. Well, some people can handle it without it. Right. So Mike Williams. I think I'm taking Williams over A-Rob.
Are you going to
Bailey
get Williams for A-Rob? That's
You're
the
not. No,
that's
you're
an
not. That's
interesting
what I'm.
thing. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm just kind of looking through players right now.
Yeah.
Send a few my way, and we're gonna see where my line is.
Okay. So so we'll go head to head to start, and then we'll look at packages after that. Allen Robinson or Rashad Bateman?
That's really fun. You went hard off the first one.
Yeah, it's because you threw him at me before.
Fair enough. No, that's fair. Good. See, we're coming. Okay, we're right there. Okay, give me A-Rob still, I think.
Okay, yeah. Allen Robinson or Cortland Sutton?
Give me Cortland Sutton.
Okay. Allen Robinson or an injured Jerry Jeudy?
Allen Robinson, because Sutton's the alpha.
Okay. Allen Robinson or, we said it before, Michael Thomas?
Michael Thomas.
Interesting. That one would be the most tilting for me, right? Because that is one, I don't like MT.
I would make that trade if you had MT.
Yes, but like again,
now.
If you've got MT not doing anything on your roster and he hasn't been for a while, if you've got Allen Robinson on another roster also not doing much right now, like you're flipping and hoping the guy you stay with at the end of it is going to produce those one numbers again. So,
well, here's why, because I think that when Michael Thomas comes back, he's going to outproduce Allen Robinson fourfold. Because when Michael Thomas comes back, Jameis Winston is going to go lock-on mode because Winston is having one of the best safe seasons of his career, but it's affecting his passing yards numbers. Michael Thomas is a good wide receiver. If he is healthy and he is 100%, I will take a 100% Michael Thomas over a 100% Allen Robinson in their two situations.
Yeah.
Because Justin Fields is a great prospect quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not as good a quarterback as Jameis Winston right now.
Yeah.
I don't care what you tell me. I understand physical traits, all of that. For fantasy, Winston's better right now.
Yeah.
I trust Michael Thomas being funneled targets in that offense. So I would take Thomas.
I think the issue with Robinson is because the perceived value is starting to get towards 20, your player for player head-to-head trades are probably not where you're going to get the most value out of him.
Yes.
Or probably not where you're going to acquire him at the most value, if that makes sense. Because you're likely to have to give up a player and something else. The interesting thing right now is, could you send away a first that's projected between 9 and 11 for Allen Robinson? And then would you do that? So if you're a team that's looking like you're going to finish in the top 4, would you be sending away your 22 first for Allen Robinson? And if they asked for more, would you add more to it?
Nah, if I'm good, I don't need Robinson. I'll keep my pick if I'm good. If I'm that good.
Because I think that's the case. I think you will be able to get him in most situations with a decent first.
That's why I said 2 seconds, because I don't care about second-round picks right now.
Yeah, and I don't care about second-round picks most of the time. But that's one of the questions. I think in the off-season, you would have had to add to the first. Is it worthwhile sending away a late perceived, quote-unquote, late first for him? I think that's probably where you're going to make the most value, especially if any more of these wide receivers in this class keep getting injured. We'll see. But, that's probably where I'm sitting with it. If you're going to pick him up and you want him on the roster because you think he's going to increase in value, the pick won't do anything but increase in value. So you need to be picking something that you know is either going to stay the same or drop, and look to get the upside on Robinson if you're going to trade away for him.
I don't even think, like to stay the same or drop. That's not even true. Like I would still trade Ayuk, who has very much the possibility of going up. But at that point, I would be happy watching him go up and not, leveling out on my team. So I'm comfortable missing on the Ayuk fire up when I have Allen Robinson. So, okay, next one up. Let's go. This one's going to be, if I post it on the Twitterverse, it's going to be crazy.
We're going to fire through these last two pretty quickly. And the reason is this guy's value hasn't dropped yet for most people, but there's questions starting to pop up, right? So AJ Brown, right? Consensus Yeah, in the offseason consensus, wide receiver 2, DLF ADP.
Not mine.
Got to the wide receiver 1 in June and July. Where's he at now? What are we doing?
Well, I don't have him on my roster usually because co-host Jacob takes him super early. Was his wide receiver 1?
Yeah.
Not sure where he will land now in his current rankings. But AJ Brown, he was never my 1. He was never my 2. There's a whole bunch of people I would take ahead of him then, and there's a bunch of people I would take ahead of him now.
Yeah.
So if I have him, I don't want him, but you can't get rid of him because you drafted him too high, so you're holding.
Yep.
And if you're acquiring, go do it. Like, this is a time where I think I would go and get him.
So that's the key. So it's more going to be leagues that are established because you don't want to be thinking about startup value. Like you said, you've invested too much in him. You're backing him to come around. It's the guys who have had him for a year. He's floated around. His values fluctuate in the established league. This guy is a stud receiver, right? We know he's a very, very good wide receiver. That offense has question marks. Their health has question marks. What are we buying him for? Because the price on AJ Brown in the offseason, you're looking at over 2 firsts comfortably.
Yeah, that was insane.
So, are we giving up 2 firsts to try and get him now? Would someone take that? You and I, it's not that we're not high on him. Like you said, we don't have shares because we couldn't get our hands on him. So
people will always draft him higher than we would.
Yeah. So, what are we doing? Is it like Diggs where we probably know what we can get him for? Is there an outcome where you see us getting some value on AJ Brown, or is the confidence there from the owner still too high to be able to capitalize on it?
It all depends. If you didn't get AJ Brown and you wanted him, then yeah, maybe you would do that. But for me, 2 first-round picks for AJ Brown, I mean, maybe, right? But it's a lot. I don't think I would do that. That's a lot. Yeah. But you got to think he does. Again, it comes down to where you initially had him. And like I said, there was a bunch of guys I had above him. So
I think of all these guys, he is the one whose value, whilst having question marks pop up and flags pop up everywhere, it hasn't yet dropped. So he's going to be the hardest to go and get.
Yeah, you're not gonna want to move 2-3 first-round picks for him right now.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, so, unless you really believe he's the one, and you didn't get a chance to draft him.
But you're likely to see his name pop up consistently on Twitter because this is a big button topic right now.
He was never my top 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So he hadn't got there for me. So do you got a couple names?
Yep. So for all the noise, I mean, what are we doing? So AJ Brown or Terry McLaurin?
Oh, fuck. You started off just
right. I'm
quick.
Right. Yeah. I want to hit that value. What are we doing? Which one's
Terry
better?
McLaurin. I want Terry
AJ
McLaurin.
Brown, DJ Moore.
Easy DJ Moore.
Interesting.
Suck it, Jacob.
AJ Brown, Keenan Allen.
AJ Brown by a landslide.
Okay, cool. So now that we've found our little back end, we'll move back up. AJ Brown or Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson, not even close. It wasn't close preseason.
We found our top. So AJ Brown or CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb.
Okay. AJ Brown or Calvin Ridley.
AJ Brown. Calvin Ridley's a dud. Suck it, Tom Lee.
That doesn't hurt at all.
I don't like him.
Yeah, I can tell.
I don't like him. I don't want him on my fantasy teams.
Yeah,
he's a mirage.
Yeah.
Last season was a mirage.
Yeah.
There's no way he does that with what's
this
around him. Wait till
Arthur
Smith gets a running back. Wait till Arthur Smith finds the first 6'2", 230-pound Jared Dokes looking fucker in the draft and drafts him.
We had Javonte Williams sitting there, and they just went, no, I don't reckon this is the year for it. Let's go with Mike Davis. Anyway, not getting into that. This leads us to our final guy, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I spoke the wrong name. Mike Davis is just...
He's never
this leads us to our last name, because we talk about training across positions. The last guy we're going to talk about is Austin Eckler. So this is...
Yes.
And we've been talking about him last couple of weeks. The meteoric rise, the production, he is doing everything. He looks great. He's on the right offense. He's got the right quarterback. AJ Brown was going 2 rounds ahead of this guy in startups, right? Are we trading him 1-for-1 for Austin Eckler? Which side are you on this battle? This is our last little dalliance into the trade value.
Who did you just ask me?
Yes, I did.
You said Javonte Williams, right?
No.
Okay. Who did
Yeah.
you say?
No, so Austin Eckler or AJ Brown.
Okay, I got you.
So we're going cross position.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's tough.
AJ Brown is a first or second round pick. Austin Eckler was a fourth, is now perceived as a second. We're starting to match the value. Running backs, people still think they matter. What are we doing?
That's really hard, but I don't think I would trade AJ Brown for Austin Eckler.
So I think
Austin Eckler is having a great season, but total dynasty value, I'll still go AJ Brown. Yeah. But it feels disgusting.
I'd go with you there. It does feel wrong.
It feels gross because
so
Eckler
the last
looks
question,
this good.
Yeah, the last question is, what are we doing with Austin Eckler? So if we can trade him for that sort of value, would you move him on for an AJ Brown?
See, that's where it gets tricky because I don't think I would
you won't
trade
give
my
up
current
the asset. Yeah.
I don't think I would trade my current Austin Eckler for a current AJ Brown. Yeah, that's okay. You spun that.
Food for thought, people. This will be our poll this week. Austin Eckler is becoming a fan favorite of ours because we were all wrong on him. I mean, I was. I don't know if you were wrong on him, but
I only drafted him one time.
Yeah. So, and this is this thing. So he is now looking really, really, really good for PPR Dynasty. AJ Brown starting a lot of question marks. This is the head-to-head we want to hear about this week, and you guys can even have a look at it on the Friday show and see what the results were. But this is a thought project of what are you doing with these two players? It's fine to say you want to sell high on Austin Eckler. What are you selling for, and how do you make the most out of it? And can you replace that production? Because right now, it doesn't look like you can.
Nah, he's going to mess around and finish is the one, right? You want to track the offense. The offense looks great. He looks great. He looks healthy. He's this good, and he missed a little bit of time there, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's so messed up because I think I would trade Eckler for AJ Brown, but if somebody offered me that, I don't think I would take it.
We'll do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not bullshitting you here. We're not going to say, yes, do this for this. Yes, so this is what happens in your head. This is the tilt we all experience.
That feels disgusting. Nah, I couldn't do it. Keep Eckler right now.
This is what happens in our leagues. This is what we're looking at. So food for thought, something to consider.
That's so disgusting.
Yeah.
This is the week for that.
Where trades start to become a big focus because a lot of people are tilting about their starts right now. A lot of popular picks got injured. A lot of people are looking at 1 and 4 or 2 and 3. What are we doing? So, yeah.
Okay, I want to ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Now that we've gotten into that, Austin Eckler right now, PPR running back 2, standard scoring behind again Derek fucking Henry and just ahead of Cordero Patterson. I want to ask you this now: Austin Eckler, Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm holding strong, just.
I think I would take Austin Eckler.
I know, yeah.
Because I can get
again, like preseason, I'd be going, what, how many? Yeah.
Here's the thing: Madison's been a baller. Cook's gotten hurt. Champion workload. I don't know if it's coming back. And Eckler's on the better offense. So, okay, Alvin Kamara, Austin Eckler.
Kamara.
Okay, Antonio Gibson, Austin Eckler. It's dirty, right? Another preseason one where we would go, there's no fucking way he's going to say that.
Because we know we like Gibson more. And it's not, Eckler's great. He's fun. He's social. He's everywhere. He's a good guy, apparently. Yeah.
Are you really just him the it's not me, it's you right now? Like,
yeah, I kind of am because Gibson is like the athletic darling. Like he is yeah.
It's hard, right? But does Gibson have the real opportunity to be what we all hoped he would be by the time he's Austin Eckler's age?
I think I'm Gibson. I think I'm apologizing to Austin Eckler.
You do need to apologize to Austin Eckler.
Do.
I think right now. I think right now, I would move. I would move Eckler. Oh fuck!
I'm so sorry. It's one of those.
I did it to myself, but
well, we were talking about this. Perception value has to be that high, but are we moving these guys for him? Because it's fine to rank them there, we're looking at real life situations. What are we doing with these guys?
Think I would do it straight up.
Yeah.
But if someone wanted to add something on to get Eckler from me, then I would take Gibson and then the other way around. I wouldn't give an extra for either of those guys in that scenario.
Yeah. I think it's just the age as well.
That's
I think
tough.
it's the age and athleticism where the roof for me on
Eckler's
Gibson
26, Gibson's 24. Eckler has a role on the better offense. Gibson shares time with McKissick.
Yes.
So
on
it's
paper,
like
it's one way.
Exactly. So that's a really tough line right there. Obviously, JT, we're going that way.
We're going JT. Yeah.
Yeah, that's obvious. I don't know. Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler.
Very similar sort of players. I think Eckler, just because you know he's going to be with Herbert that little bit longer. Rodgers is really the main issue for me in Green Bay. And I think that's the only thing that really puts Aaron Jones behind him for me. I think Aaron Jones is probably the better player in that situation, but it's not, it's not either way for me. I think what Eckler's done and what he's shown, and if he can stay healthy in that offense, nothing's changing in the next couple of years. And I think that production speaks louder than what Jones will give.
Okay, Javonte Williams, Austin Eckler.
Oh, our boy.
I know.
26-year-old versus a 20-year-old is not a fair question, Tom.
I know, but I mean, the one, right? Going to finish in the top 5 for sure.
I think I'm in that situation where you just had me before, where if I've got Javonte, I'm not giving up. If I've got Javonte and I need to compete, I might look at that switch because I think there's enough years of Eckler to make it worthwhile. But if any other situation I have Javonte, I'm not moving him really for many people. Just because he's 20. The ceiling and the years are we don't have one of those this year. We've got the 2 age or injured players in Najee and Etienne. And now, like Javonte's
you're right. I thought I had to.
He looks good as soon as Gordon's gone. He is the guy.
He's looked amazing. He's looked
really
amazing.
Good. So
fair enough.
It's a great time of year to look at getting some Javonte. People aren't like us, but yeah, that's a really, really interesting one.
And good luck. Look, that's going to do it for us. We went through it. That's a couple little bit of player to player. We like to get that in. We'll do that a lot this year.
Yeah, hit us up with questions about that sort of stuff as well. I mean, situations you're facing in actual leagues, it's going to be very similar. A lot of people really don't know what to do with these guys because it's a period of the year where we start tilting and needing to make moves. So it's crucial.
Yep, 100% do that. Final thoughts, Tom Lee. What do you got for me?
Well, we got to get an Aussie slang in there. So if I said to you, Tom, if I said to you the phrase "sparrows fart," what would I be talking about? Sparrows fart.
Bad news.
In a sentence, I said, "Mate, I was up at Sparrows fart."
Oh my god. Your in-laws.
No, it's really, really early in the morning. Is what it means. Oh, mate, it's fucking up. I was up at Sparrow's fart to go fishing, right? That is the sentence you'll hear. And I can only assume it's because no one's really seen sparrows farting, so therefore they have to do it in the early hours of the morning when no one's up, right? It can't have come from anywhere else.
Of all the sayings, the early bird gets the worm,
early bird gets the worm,
up and at him.
Not only does he get the
crack
worm,
of dawn,
he gets a bit of gas from the worm. He needs a gas X from his little worm eating experience early in the morning. Because up at Sparrow's fart is this week's Aussie slang.
Up at Sparrow's fart. Holy fuck. Another one just to add to my regular vocabulary. And
How
hope
are you going to get this
all
into your vocab? That's it.
Oh man, I gotta go. Yeah, I gotta be up at Sparrow's fart.
Gotta be up at Sparrow's fart.
I gotta get out of here. Sorry, honey. I can't do the dishes. I gotta be up at Sparrow's fart tomorrow.
Perfect.
Yeah, don't worry. I've already got it. Oh my god. I'm going to ruin so many people's day with that because I'm just going to leave them. I'm going to say it and just walk away.
Yeah. And
give them.
Going,
yeah. Don't look back. No context.
He's buying a sparrow?
Yeah. Look, as for me, right, I'm Tom Simple FF. That's Tom _Lee 92 here for the Full Tilt Dynasty podcast. We're to tell you this Friday we have Cody Carpenter coming on to the show. fantastic person. Gonna love chatting it up with him. Me and Jacob. Billy's not gonna be able to be there, so me and Jacob are gonna, do our thing, hold down the fort at Cody, or at Carpenter NFL. I'm looking forward to that. He's hopping on Friday with us. It's gonna be a great time.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm gonna mock Jacob relentlessly for the Indianapolis Colts demise. Look, the way I see things, right? Especially like we said, we're not gonna really get into the news of Gruden and everything else, but I always do say on this show to be as the best person you can be. Be kind to one another. Yeah. Tell your friends you love them. Check in on your family. Just all the time and appreciate that. And look, Twitter is a dark place sometimes, right? But it doesn't always have to be. Pay attention to what you're getting into and know when to get out, just mentally for your health. And other than that, hey, thanks for hanging with us. We had a great time. It was a weird start. Some crazy kind of shit happened in my headset. Mavavi's telling me I don't have an account anymore, so I can't do any video editing. And go and check out Fantasy Football, the reality TV show competition that yours truly is still alive and well. And thanks to Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, handling their business in the Eliminator contest. You can go find that Primetime Mock Twitter account. All the details right there. Great guy. Whew, that's a lot of stuff. Go Ravens, right? All the time. Lamar Jackson's the GOAT. I won't hear anything else about it. Smoke him if you got him. Stay safe. We'll see you Friday. Good night, everybody.
Peace out.
It says here we should work in teams. Who wants to be my spotter?
I don't think you should be doing too much gambling tonight, Alan.
Gambling? Who said anything about gambling? It's not gambling when you know you're going to win.
I also forgot to say clear as full hearts can't lose. Bye-bye.